Supreme Court. Let's have a look at this story because lots of different versions are doing the rounds and a lot of them are confusing a lot of people. But it's quite simple. A whole ecosystem, if you remember, threatened revolt. They said Modi was an Islamophobe. I don't know why we are showing these great pictures of the Supreme Court. They say nothing to me. I don't think they say anything to the viewer. Let's just show those pictures of those people on the right of the screens who thought that they could bring the country down, viewers. Because they said that Prime Minister Modi was an Islamophobe and the BJP was fascist. They said that Muslim rights are being alienated. Their religion was under attack. Their places of worship were going to be seized. Why? Because the NDA's Waqf Amendment Act, they said, was an assault on secular constitutionalism and needed to be scrapped. Hundreds of lawyers queued up outside the Supreme Court, filed petitions. Number of Muslim groups, all represented by Hindus and Muslims and all sorts of other people from different walks of life, argued the case persuasively, they believed, for scrapping the Waqf Amendment Act that was brought by the Modi government. They threatened to bring India to a halt. These are some of these absolutely extrajudicial dramas that were playing out in the street. They wanted to create the riot situation of CAA, Kagaz Nahi Dikhayenge, that whole thing was to be replayed, viewers. And many politicians came out and told Muslims, the government has an eye on your places of worship. They're going to take them all from you. Imagine, viewers, what that creates. What sort of fear that sort of whips up in someone's mind. Today, these fearmongers have all got a supreme jolt. The Supreme Court's interim order on the Waqf Amendment Act is nothing short of a thunderbolt. By refusing to stay the law in its entirety, the court has sent a blunt message. The era of unchecked Waqf land claims and, quote, Muslim first, unquote, appeasement cannot continue unquestioned. That's the message that has come from the pulpit of the Supreme Court. For decades, pseudo-secular politics shielded the Waqf boards, granting them exceptional powers over property. They could take over the property of any denomination in this country without batting an eyelid. Today, that exceptionalism has been stayed, curbed, call it what you wish. The Supreme Court has upheld the constitutional presumption, and these are not my words, these are the Supreme Court's words of Parliament's Act. So, the constitutional presumption behind the Parliament's Act has been upheld, signaling that reforms introduced by the NDA government were neither arbitrary nor communal, but corrective. The Supreme Court backs the NDA on the Waqf Act, the Waqf Amendment Act largely intact in the interim, presumption of constitutionality reaffirmed, presumption of constitutionality. Most provisions enforced to curb exceptionalism. 3 provisions stayed, but only till NDA notifies the rules. The move to override Waqf by user upheld by the Supreme Court, viewers. Upheld. Crucially, 3 controversial clauses have been stayed, but these are the exception, not the rule. 5-year Islam practice rule for property dedication, which the government had already begun to water down in its arguments before the Supreme Court. So it's not really something that's going against the government's intent. The collector's powers to decide Waqf property disputes, and most importantly, that non-Muslim seats on Central Waqf Board will be capped to 4, which is an assurance that in fact the centre gave to the court. The big picture is clear. Minority appeasement dressed up as secularism has hit a judicial wall. The message from the highest court is unmistakable. Equality before law trumps religious exceptionalism. And today, let's open this up. Let's have an honest conversation, hopefully an informed one. And let me begin by asking a very simple question of Tariq Khan Bhai, who's with us from the Samajwadi Party. Tariq Khan Sahab, it was said by people like you, and you were on this show, that the Modi government is looting, is on the verge of looting the religious places of worship of the Muslim community, disenfranchising Muslims, alienating them. Some of your colleagues in other parties have said this. People from outside of the India bloc, but not part of the NDA, like Asaduddin Owaisi, have said this. Some within the India bloc have hit the streets and said that we will bring this country to a standstill. And today the Supreme Court has come out and talked about, sir, constitutionalism, saying very, very importantly, and these are the words, that the presumption of constitutionality has been reaffirmed, which means that the Modi government was not doing anything extra constitutional. In fact, your group, your ecosystem was being extrajudicial in trying to whip up a fear and create probably the conditions for an insurrection like we've seen in Bangladesh and Nepal against the government of India. This is the charge. Please respond.
Okay, you said it's not against the intention, means the judgment is not against the intention of the court.
Presumption of constitutionalism.
I got your point. Simple. Means we have to understand things in sequence. First of all, what this law says that all the work property should be registered. Okay, point number one. Point number two, if any dispute arises, who will decide who will judge that dispute? Absolute power had been given to DM. Okay. Now, in this judgment, that absolute power has been revoked. Now, if this is up to you, how you will take it? It's a victory for BJP. I'll congratulate BJP once again that it's a victory. When under the pressure of the people, under the pressure of the farmer, they revoke farm law. It's a victory for BJP. I congratulate again for that event. When Supreme Court framed the guideline for bulldozer action, that's a victory for BJP. I congratulate all the time when Supreme Court says something to BJP, that's a victory to BJP. It's very good. It's all we should come together and stand and clap that yes, that's a great decision, that's a great work by Bharatiya Janata Party, and all the people who are sitting in Supreme Court, they don't have enough minds to say all these things that no, there should not be absolute power to the district magistrate. BJP can't do anything. It's all right if this should be taken in this way, but I must say this, that it's a judgment which define all the things and correlate all the things. If we look at Waqf by user, if there is a dispute of Waqf by user, it goes to district magistrate. And district magistrate was the final authority to say that yes, it will be registered or not. That is also breaching. You'll get your time, Anand Saab. You'll get your time. You'll get 5 minutes to run all your things. You'll get your 5 minutes. Okay. So, what the current law says that DM will have the absolute power. So, what court has done, they have defended themselves. Okay. What they have done in this law, they have said that DM, you are the judge. Now, the judges are saying that no, DM is not judge, we are judge. Okay. We will judge any type of dispute. So, they have preserved their right as well.
Okay.
Their right. You started, Bharatiya Janata Party started capturing rights of judiciary.
Okay.
They have defined the jurisdiction, the boundaries of executive and judiciary.
Okay.
What are the parts of executive and what are the
Let me bring the other side. Okay, this is what Mr. Khan is saying. He's got a point. He's making a point. I just want to point out one thing. One of the provisions which was seriously contested was the non-recognition of Waqf which were not registered. Viewers, this is what Mr. Khan is talking about. The Supreme Court has not stayed that provision. So please read a little more carefully. In other words, the non-registered Waqfs will not be treated as Waqfs. Yes, the matter of who adjudicates on whether they are or they are not has been resolved to some extent in favor of the court itself. So to that extent, Mr. Khan is right. But viewers, to suggest that the entire act was going to lead to people or the government looting the place of worship of the Muslim community, that, viewers, has not borne out. The court has actually said that the presumption of constitutionality, it is reaffirming that, which means that as a whole, the act is constitutional, in consonance with the constitutionality of this country. Dr. Ranganathan, you were raising your hand because you did. I want you to come in, and I want then the BJP national spokesperson and the Congress leader here to pit wits. Yes.
No, and at the outset, let me say that I greatly value the friendship and erudite, nature, eloquence of my good friend Tariq Bhai. But उन्होंने जो भी शरिया जीपीटी से बोला पिछले 5 मिनट के लिए, please allow me to rebut, because शरिया जीपीटी ये वर्जन 4 आया, वर्जन 5 आया, ये बदलते रहते हैं. Look, it is a watershed moment today, Rahul, because the leopard in the form of the Supreme Court seems to have changed its spots. Great. My problem is that the spots may have been changed, but the spots remain. And that is the tragedy of this country. 2 steps back, 1 step forward. For 30 years, the Supreme Court never found illegal an act that gave Muslims the power to claim any property as their own, that allowed them to annex any land housing a functional mosque. But today it is sitting to adjudicate whether a version that curtailed these draconian excesses was illegal or not. For 30 years, the Supreme Court never found unsecular an act that gave Muslims the power to use thousands of crores of taxpayers' money to conduct surveys of religious property. For 30 years, the Supreme Court never found unjust that a parallel extrajudicial tribunal decided with finality the fate of the aggrieved whose land and property was usurped. But today it is sitting to adjudicate whether a version that curtailed these draconian excesses was illegal or not. And you still claim that this country is not a banana republic. As I said, the leopard may have changed its spots, but unfortunately the spots remain. And the fact of the matter, Rahul, is that we are being guilt-tripped into giving away our property, our schools, our temples, our rights, and finally our faith. Because the same Supreme Court has to explain how is it that in the last 10 years, the Islamists have usurped 20 lakh acres. How? Through this same act. Look, I have nothing against the Waqf board. Just 30 seconds. Why should anyone, yeah? Countless boards, charities, NGOs exist. The problem for me always was the Waqf Act that weaponized the Waqf board. World over, disputes over property are settled using courts and existing laws that are community and religion agnostic. Why should a particular religious community be armed with another set of laws, those that are patently discriminatory towards member of another community as a primary instrument of defense or indeed offense? The fact is, every mosque in India is built on Sanatan land, is it not? Including Jama Masjid. Tomorrow, if a Hindu board armed through a Waqf equivalent Sanatan Act claims Jama Masjid, how would Muslims feel if they were to first plead their case in front of a Sanatan tribunal rather than approach a court? And that is why I say this is something that the Supreme Court is even too afraid to address. So the leopard may have changed its...
Then met it and has upheld the constitutionality, and the term that was used is the presumption of constitutionality. And that is an important term because it gives you the right to come out and say that, look, we were right and the fear mongers were trying to whip up communal frenzy. Can you elaborate for Mr. Khan, who challenged you, 3 points or 4 points why you believe today this is a victory for NDA's reformist Sabka Saath, Sabka Vishwas legislative push?
Well, good evening, Rahul. Good evening, everybody. The Supreme Court judgment today is very interesting. While it is a consolation win for the opposition, it's a real and decisive win for the government reforms initiated under the Waqf Amendment Act 2025. The only operative part is that there is no stay on the Waqf Act, on the Waqf Amendment Act 2025, which is a reality which is pointed out in 209. In the totality of the circumstances, we do not find that any case is made out to stay the provisions of the entire statute. The prayer for stay of the impugned act is therefore rejected. This is what should matter. But even on the issue where the Waqf donor needed to be a practicing Muslim for 5 years, please read the judgment properly. It says prima facie, the requirement of practicing Islam for 5 years before creating a waqf cannot be termed arbitrary. However, as there is currently no procedure to verify such practice, appropriate rules will need to be framed by the state under Section 109, which is something which we are committed to doing.
Yes.
There are teething problems in any new amendment, any decisive and historic amendment, and so are there over here. Please note that the maximum damage caused to the Hindu community and to other communities was through Section 40 of the spurious 1995 amendment, coupled with Waqf by user, both of which stand negated conclusively.
Yes.
At the same time, the deletion of section 104, 107, 108, which were equally contentious, stands validated. I think it's a big day for the government. You know, like you said, like you started off, like, the constitutional validity of the Waqf amendment stands validated. It's for the opposition to claim a moral victory, a consolation win, like they always claim. But, you know, I think there is no going back.
Okay.
The land of other communities will not be, you know, appropriated, will not be looted, will not be, the unbridled loot of Waqf properties by the Waqf board will stop. And it's an endorsement of the reformist agenda. Waqf properties will be maintained, digitized, in the interest of the community and in the interest of the nation.
Okay, Mr. Mishra, the biggest loser here is the Congress party that created the Waqf law in 1995. Let's be honest, in 1995, to allow one particular community to basically go out there using this arbitrary law that you created, the Congress party created, to do the unthinkable, which is to give primacy to the rights of only Muslims so that they can make claims over everybody else's properties, including the Supreme Court and the Parliament of India. By the way, viewers, they notified as Waqf. Can you believe it, viewers? This is the power. And at the same time, viewers, they denied Hindus the right to approach the courts to claim their own places of worship in 1991. One government, two laws, one nation.
Ashwini ji's
Ashwini
house
ji.
in Allahabad was also taken over or claimed by Waqf.
There you go. Ashwini ji, ye to Congress ke liye, this is a big setback, sir. Massive. Your appeasement
ji,
politics
Rahul,
completely destroyed.
Rahul ji, nobody can grab any land and there are courts to prove that whether the land belongs to one or not. Now,
hang on.
Allow me 30 seconds, uninterrupted 30 seconds, then you can ask
You
me a
take
question.
40 seconds, but be truthful and honest.
Yeah, be truthful. Let me explain by an example. Suppose right now Twin start claiming that the tie you are wearing belongs to him. What is the common course of action? Owners are proving that tie belongs to him. Twin has to go to court and prove that this tie belongs to him. But then Twin breaking a law and say no, Anand Rangnath will decide whether this tie belongs to him or not. And now Rahul has to go to court and prove that this tie belongs.
He has proved our case.
At that point of time,
There is a tribunal.
That is exactly what you were trying to do. You were trying to give that power to district magistrate. District magistrate will give a decision.
My God.
Rahul,
Just 1 minute. Let's just stop here. I don't think you even understood what has happened today in the Supreme Court. Viewers, this is how it went this far. Just 1 minute. I just want to break it down very simply. Let's talk about the tie. I go and ask. 1 second, Mr. Mishra, I'll come back to you. First, just listen to me. I'm not going to run away from you. I'll come right back to you. Just give me 30 seconds. Viewers, this is the logic. A law is passed by the Congress party that allows the Waqf board to claim a Hindu property. The Hindu says, but how are you doing this? This is my property. I've been here for years. These are my documents. No, come before us, before the tribunal, and prove your ownership. So, viewers, the person who's made the claim is also going to sit in judgment of the appeal. I mean, this was the law. So they went about, this is how simple it was, sir. Am I wrong, doctor?
Now, let me, because my good friend Ashwini ji used an analogy, let me use an analogy to explain the intricacies of the Waqf Act. If, for example, Tuhin said that the achkan that Ashwini ji is wearing, and if Ashwini ji was Aslam ji, and Aslam ji said, no, this achkan is mine. Tuhin said, no, this is mine. Then Ashwini ji would go to the court. But if Ashwini ji claimed that Tuhin's Angvastram was his, and Tuhin said, no, it is mine, Tuhin cannot go to court. Tuhin has to go to a tribunal, which is set up by Ashwini ji.
Absolutely. So you are the judge, jury and executioner in your own case. I mean, where, viewers, in which country are
The
such
people in BUF
kangaroo
and the
court
people in
set up.
tribunal are not the same people.
Only
Tribunal is a
viewers
judi-
in banana republics would kangaroo courts like this be set up. That's what the Congress had done. Reduce this country to a banana republic. No wonder that son-in-law came running out and talked about banana republic,
might
mango
have strong
people and all of
political
that.
bias.
Because he
I'm not
realized what his
questioning
own
that.
government was
You
doing.
might have strong political bias. I'm not
You know-
questioning that, Rahul.
But sir, I mean, are you denying that this was the case?
The tribunal and the BUF is not same. The BUF tribunal is a judicial body
Oh my
where
God.
the people
It was
in the
not even
tribunals are not the
representative,
people
sir,
of the BUF.
of the... Hang on, it was
There are
not
lot of
even... It
tribunals.
was not
There-
even
there is
representative.
industrial
Excuse
tribunal
me.
as well.
I can
There is
understand.
industrial
Chalo, sir,
tribunal as
meri
well.
baat to suniye. I don't even mind if it was a, quasi-judicial body, as long as it was representative of all the communities that live in this country. But no, even that was not. It was only supposed to be packed by Muslims, and that too of a particular denomination of Muslims itself, a particular caste. So when the government said, no, that can't happen, there are Pasmanda Muslims, there are other Muslims, these people went into a paroxysm. They got a culture shock, viewers. They said, hamara to pura jagir gayab ho jayega. Our complete dominance of the system will be broken. The elite classes went into paroxysms, viewers. Tortured paroxysms. And they went running to the courts. This is exactly what has happened today. And luckily, the court has said that, okay, we agree with the center. The center wanted 4 non-Muslims to be on this body. They said, okay, 4 but no more. So majority still remain Muslims. Hopefully, there will be women, there will be other castes Muslims, and not just one Ashrafi class and caste of Muslim. So please, I don't think, Mr.
No,
Mishra...
you are intermingling. You are confusing with BUF board and BUF tribunal. BUF board is different. BUF tribunal is different. Tribunal is a judicial
Oh my
body
God.
where people from all religions are allowed.
Even Mr.
People
Khan
from
is
all
keeping quiet and
religions are
playing his
allowed.
video game. वो भी कह रहे हैं कि छोड़ो मैं ग्रैंड थेफ्ट ऑटो पे कर लेता हूं मगर अश्विनी जी की नहीं सुनूंगा मैं. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. वो भी देख रहे हैं आपको सर, and he's smiling at you and saying ये क्या बोल रहे हैं. Anyhow, viewers, I'll just tell you one thing.
Please don't stereotype. Please don't stereotype, Rahul. It's
No,
not
I'm
grand
not
theft.
stereotyping anybody. I'm just saying that's one of the most common games that apparently people play. I don't even play video games.
You
but
know,
Yeah.
Rahul Gandhi probably didn't understand the Waqf Act, so he didn't speak on it. But Ashwini ji, what are you speaking?
I don't know.
I mean,
he's on his own trip. But anyhow, viewers, the point is that constitutionalism has been upheld. Now, you can say, and I agree with Mr. Khan, and I agree with Dr. Ranganath, and the court could have gone much further in both cases. I agree. It's not as if the court has completely given the NDA the writ of the run of the writ. No, that has not happened either. There has been a check, and I'm glad for it, and I don't think anyone is going to be too upset. So it's good that everyone is sort of meeting each other midway, but net you have some reform. And that's how it should be. And I just want to move on, viewers, because there's something very important that one has to